We're live, so whatever. Hello.
How do I sound? Am I good in your ears?
You sound great. How do I sound?
You sound good.
You sound good all the time. Hello, and welcome to episode number 3 of the Not Special Show with the most special guest.
Okay.
This is my friend Chris Whitten, and we've been friends for probably 10 years now.
Probably 10. What year is it? 23?
Yep.
We had to have met around 2012
Had to. That's when I got out of the Army, started showing up at the gym.
at the gym.
Right before we hit live, we were talking about words that we say a lot that are filler words. And whenever I've been editing these episodes, I say like a lot.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, boy. When you see it like written out.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what I say a lot.
What do you think? Because you almost said something just then. What were you about to say as your filler words?
Probably a lot of likes or or there was some. I was listening to a radio show the other day, and this guy was interviewing like an NFL player, and he was like, or somebody, like, I don't know if he was NFL. This dude said, "Know what I mean?" So much within, like, it was like a 2-minute interview, right?
Yeah.
And then the guy whose radio show it was, he took out every other word except for "know what I mean," and it was like 45 seconds of "know what I mean."
Oh, no.
So in 2 minutes.
Dude, my armpits are sweating for that guy because I know that feeling.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. My brother is interviewing for this like big time job, and he has to give a presentation. He's been practicing, and he said that he recorded himself and then listened to himself in the car. And he said the first time was horrifying because his thing is right.
Yeah.
So that was his.
Yeah.
And then I found myself doing it after I tried to get rid of the like. I have a, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think, but the right thing is like when you're speaking to a crowd, you're seeking approval.
Yes.
There may be something else into that.
Yeah. And they can't give it to you because they're listening to you.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Now we're all just going to be thinking about what our word is.
Well, and I got feedback trying to practice like public speaking for these little engagements. And the feedback has been, that's great, but can you please slow down? And so now I'm conscious of slowing down, not saying like, but am I talking too slow now? Speaking is weird, dude.
Speaking's hard.
Speaking's hard, and here we are speaking.
You know how to get better at it?
Just do it.
Practice.
Just do it more.
In the great words of Allen Iverson.
Practice.
Hey,
we're both
sponsors today. We have any?
Not yet, but hey, made it funny.
You're out there.
Buddy Jake from the Army, we were talking about how all these big podcasts is AG1.
Yeah.
It's like, are you actually taking AG1 or are you just getting paid bomb?
Dude, I take it every day.
Oh, do you? And I said, I'll never be an AG1 chill. And then I said, fast forward a year from now and they pay me $5,000 a month to talk about AG1. It's like, man, you know what really gets my day started? Nice scoop of AG1, baby.
Sometimes when I'm feeling down in the afternoon, I have another.
Oh, see? This is good.
We're already there.
Chris, you've been in the industry for 20 years.
Yeah, well, it depends on what industry, but yeah.
What industry would you say that? What's the professional term for the industry that you're in?
I would call it commercial advertising on the production side.
Ooh,
So photo and video for corporate clients.
And that leads me to, you were the first friend that I was like, this guy is so cool. I can't believe that he's even for real. Because at the time you were starting Dallas is Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And this was early Instagram.
Right.
Taking all these cool photos. I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. So thanks for being my cool friend.
Well, I try. Now you're my cool friend. And I'm the lame
No
corporate
way,
friend.
dude. No way. So I've looked to you for so many like creative kind of inspiration.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah, dude. You've done some crazy stuff, and it's so cool to see watching the Olympics or watching a football game. And this, can we talk about?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. He's done like this cool like Supra commercial, the yellow car one where they're like drifting down the. Where was that?
That was in
Super Bowl ad or just last year?
I don't know if that was Super Bowl, but it was in LA. Shot in LA. So for those like TV commercials, I help out on this. We have what we call a shadow shooter, and with cameras. We have a photographer that comes in and will shadow some of those big camera setups so that we can have still assets to use for a number of different, whether it's billboards or social media or website. We just kind of shadow in, so we get to be a part of those big budget Super Bowl commercials, or NFL halftime commercials, or whatever it is.
When I see them, I point it out. My friend Chris worked on that, and I think it's so cool. Do you get that same feeling when you do that stuff?
Yeah, I think it's cool. My wife is in photography industry as well, and she is probably 5 years in. And so when you start, depending on when you start to get your work published or put in a magazine or like she used to work for the Dallas Mavericks, and so her work would show up on the big screen or Jumbotron, or when you sit down, you have those annoying fans, Mark Cuban, make it stop. But on the back of those, there's photography. Some of her photography would be there. And you get the same feeling, I think, 20 years later to see your work on a billboard or out or on TV that you did when I was like first doing it. And so my advice to her was like, never let that feeling go. Like, never get used to it. Always have that same, like, oh my gosh, this is super cool.
Yeah.
And it may be like a local magazine versus a worldwide or regional campaign, but it's still cool.
I feel that even with the book that I just self-published and put on Amazon.
Congrats on that too.
Thanks, dude. Technically anybody can do it, but it's still so cool to me when I put in not special on Amazon and something pops up that looks like it's supposed to be there.
Right.
In my head, I'm just thinking that's so cool.
Yeah, I think because you did it for you, not for the acclaim of others, right?
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't sell, the book's going to do awesome. Everyone go buy the book. Even if it doesn't sell one copy, you still like this. You set out to write it, and publish it.
Yeah. You
didn't really. The sales of it is like an offshoot of the accomplishment.
Yeah.
Right.
I got to give credit to Rick Rubin in this. He said this after I'd already written it and after I'd already decided, but it captured it so perfectly. This is an offering to God.
Yeah.
It's just fill in the blank. We've talked about it. I've talked about it with these people before, like God, universe, whatever we're calling it nowadays. For me, it's God. It gave me the words to do it, and I'm going to see it through. And now here it is back, the completed thing. But it is hard. And you probably feel this way too. When you do something creative, not doing it, thinking, man, I hope these people like it. I hope they buy it.
Right.
But I guess that is different if you're starting a business versus if you're just doing a creative thing that happens to turn into.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just having this conversation with somebody on Friday in Denver, and I went to art school, and most of our tests were, like, for photography, we would print out our work for the semester and put it on a wall, gallery, and then our peers would judge it or talk about it. And there was one final that one of the students, one of the people in my class, another student was critiquing their work, and it wasn't in line with how this person thought it should be, and they kind of lost their mind. And our professor like set us all down and was like, you have to understand, like, once you put the work on the wall, in this particular instance it's a piece of photography, frame it and put it on a wall, all the thoughts, feelings, and reasons why you created it are still there, valid to you, but they're not the same for anyone else who looks at it. And so, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because their opinion of the work is their opinion of the work.
Right.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What you thought about it.
Yeah.
It's up to other people's definition of it.
Man, that's tough. You think that's what holds a lot of people back from these creative things that are in their mind with, like, I can't handle not selling copies or not.
Right.
That sucks. Because I've talked to so many people who are like, dude, I've been like messing around with the idea of writing a book. I'm like, I want to read that book.
Yeah.
And it's a whole switch in my mind, having done something like this, to encourage people because it is hard.
Yeah.
But it also is worth it.
Right. I mean, I think you said it great on the last podcast that you were like, I'm not doing this for the likes or the clicks or the subscribers. I'm doing it because God told you to.
Yeah.
And that you need to see this through.
It is a hard, now that it's out, allowing myself to market it and allowing myself to talk about it and allowing myself to want it to sell, but having that be separate from, is everybody going to like it?
Yeah.
I want everybody to like it, and I want to sell, and I want to make money, but that wasn't the first thing of why I'm writing a book.
Right.
And why I continue to write books.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Right.
But also get it. You go into Target or, you see some of these like mass market books, and it's just like what sells. And I think right now it's like the mystery, like Gone Girl type.
Yeah.
Dude, that author is
Great
crushing
read.
it. Great read. It's awesome. And they make a ton of money. And I'm like, do you actually like it? But who cares?
Yeah.
They're like,
I think it's that, like, you and I always have that, the same thing about movies when people are like, and I do, and sorry, I'm going to show my cards here. I say Fast and the Furious is the greatest movie franchise ever created because it is, and it just riles people up.
Oh, dude.
And then all of a sudden everyone's a movie critic and he's like, okay, well, go tell that to the billions of people that paid for it.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't matter, like, sure, mass market is a whole conversation that we don't have to dive into, but it's like, if people like it, people like it.
Oh, totally.
Someone's sitting real rich right now.
It goes to the, there's this thing, I think, in music specifically, but you can do it for kind of anything now because, we just started this podcast. We didn't have to go to a production company or anything.
Right.
Like you can do whatever you want now. You can make a movie on your iPhone and put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Technically, you made a movie.
It's all available.
So there's that side of it, but there's also the side of, a studio or a record label offered me $100,000, but now they own 80% of everything for forever. What is that balance? Because you tell somebody that lives in a trailer, barely making rent, hey, here's $100,000 for your talents. You can't tell them, don't take that money and bet on yourself, and it's going to all work out. Yeah. Like, dude, that's life-changing money for me forever. So it's hard.
It is hard. What do we do about it?
You used to you're so old that you did back to your photography class, and I love this story. He's like 42 now.
41
now, so not that old. But back in the day when there was no digital cameras and y'all would have to go down into the dark room, is that what it's called? And y'all would just be smoking cigs down there. Like,
well, we couldn't smoke down there.
Smoke down there, wink, wink, and would never do that.
You have to go outside because there is there is like the chemicals that you have to use to develop.
It's probably not good.
Dude, I hated the tongs and gloves.
Lots of tongs did you hate?
Because I felt it was going to bend my paper. And some of them would. And then so a lot of the dark rooms in colleges are community. So you have like around the exterior of the wall, there's the enlarger, is what shines the light into a lens, which through the film and then projects it on a piece of paper that is light sensitive. And you put the paper into the developer, and then you put it into the stop bath, and then you put it into the fixer, and then you put it in a water wash. Well, all that's community, and somebody like the dark room intern will come every morning and make new baths, like the stop and the fixer and the developer. Well, when you get into like your senior year and you're a perfectionist, you want everything to be perfect, and you don't want everyone else's chemicals in your photo. So we would get to go into a single place where we could develop our own stuff. So the tongs early on were community, and I didn't want to use tongs because no one would wash them correctly. And let's say if you pull a tong that had been in developer, but someone misplaced it into a different bath, and it's going to contaminate
What would that do to the photo?
If you like, let's say if you got a tong from the fixer and you touched your paper with it before it had been a developer, it would stop that piece of wherever it touched, stop that piece of the paper from developing in the developer.
Whoa.
Really nerdy stuff. But yeah, that's kind of how I took a photo class as an elective in 2001 or 2000. And when I developed my first, I took a picture of, I lived in Waco at the time, and I took a picture of this road, black and white film, and I developed it and saw it come out. And I was like, instantly then, I was like, I'm going to be in this field for the rest of my life.
Whoa, you knew it right then.
Yeah.
Dang, you just loved it.
Yeah.
Do you still have that same, like, I love it, or has the, like, this is my job?
No, I mean, it's still like, every time I'm on set, I'm to the people around me, and people around me probably think, because I say it every time, I was like, this is really cool that we get to do this.
That leaks into like our life, and it's so cheesy to say because I think we've heard it all, but maybe nobody has. Or it is that position of like gratitude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying, like, I'm going to stop.
We'll just take it out.
Yeah.
Thank you, AI.
When we're in our house, my wife and I will just say, our house is so cool.
Yeah.
And not losing touch of that. And you can fill in the blank. Like, being a parent is so cool.
Yeah.
Being a husband is so cool. This is so cool. So I think you can take that into your job.
Yeah. Well, I truly think that if you don't think it's cool, then stop doing it.
Go find what you think is cool.
Yeah.
Because there's so many cool stuff out there.
There's a lot. And there's so many jobs out there. And I know, like, yeah, we don't have to get into that, but I'm super grateful that I'm still doing this in the field. Will I do it forever? I don't know. But to get to create things on a daily basis is super awesome. And sure, there's frustrating. Like, I don't go into work every day and I'm like, this is so cool. Like, there's sometimes it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
And it could be someone's personalities. It could be because I'm hangry. It could be because I'm tired or whatever. But at the end of the day, that we get to wake up and do anything is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, even from the point, like you and I, we both drive beater cars. Like, we both have, like,
they paid off though.
They paid off. And I love cars.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm just grateful that this thing gets me from point A to point B.
Imagine walking to a bus stop.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
probably be more fit.
Probably
10,000 steps.
Probably wouldn't have to have a sauna to be able to sweat.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just be sweating
all the time.
I'm good on the heat, by the way. It's Texas and it's almost October and I'm sweating still going to the truck.
Yeah, because it's 98 outside.
So I'm good. Thank you. What was the main difference? Because you went solo for a while and you had Whitten Productions and then you came back into corporate life.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest difference, I guess?
Well, my career, so when you go to art school, and let's just call it for personally, obviously, because that's who we're talking to. We're talking to me. In a photography world, you're either going one of two tracks. You're going commercial photography or you're going straight art. And for me, our school was super heavy art and they all wanted us to graduate and be artists. Well, it's really hard to make money. And especially going to one of the most expensive art schools in the nation. And then they want you to pay all that off with your trying to sell prints on Etsy. And I'm so old that Etsy wasn't a thing.
So what did an artist do back then?
Oh, galleries and all that stuff. I mean,
okay.
There were still
oh no,
outlets to. They're having technical difficulties.
Yes,
there were still outlets to sell on. There's galleries on the World Wide Web, the WWW. But anyway, back to, I took a commercial photography course in my senior year, and I was like, okay, this is the path that I want to take. And so at the time, my parents were living in McKinney, Texas. I was in Savannah, Georgia, brought all my stuff to McKinney thinking that I'm going to move to New York or LA. But in the meantime, like got busy with photographers in Dallas in the same space that I wanted to be in. Had a really cool mentor, Stephen Carlish, who kind of came up in Dallas shooting. He does a lot of weddings and interiors for like Architecture Digest and stuff like that. And so he kind of took me under his wing and he was like, brought me to a wedding as a second shooter. And he's like, do you like doing this? And I was like, no. And then
no.
Brought me to, we were doing it like the first shoot I was on was with, and he's like, can't pay you, but you can come watch as an assistant. And I was like, cool. Did this shoot in Highland Park for D Magazine. Really amazing house. The shoot was super boring. But I was like, I can get down with getting income from this.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning more and more about lighting and other aspects of photography that they just don't have time to teach you in like real world applications in school. And then from there, I just started getting introduced. But my first paid, this is kind of funny, like I was living with my parents, first 6 months out of school. My dad, corporate guy, was like, yo, get a job.
Yeah. Enough of this.
I don't care.
Artsy.
Yeah, I don't care where it is. And at this time I was just going and meeting photographers. I have not gotten paid a single penny. And he didn't make me because my dad, I don't think, my parents would never make me do anything, but he was like, go interview you for this job at Glamour Shots in the Stonebriar Mall. So I did, got the job. Interview was funny. And then I would dress in all black.
Of course.
And stand.
And not the cool John Wick all black.
Stand outside of the mall and hand out the pamphlet. So I never took a picture of it while I was there.
Oh,
and it was miserable. Like completely miserable. Because there's a sales-based company, like great business model. Like they would make like the corporate structure.
They still doing it?
I don't know. They may have gotten bought out.
Were you still going and meeting photographers?
Yeah.
Putting the word out. Hey,
still
if you need
doing
me.
It, showing my terrible portfolio from school, like all the things. And it's a total relationship. Like they don't care. Like at that level, when you're coming in as like a third assistant, they don't care how much you know about photography.
Are you available?
Do it. Can you lift heavy things?
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
And so I went home from one day at work and I told my mom, I was like, hey, I can't do this anymore. And she was like, what? I was like, I cannot work here anymore. It's like sucking life out of me. I was like, just back me up when I quit. To Dad. And she was like, okay, quit. The next day I got a call from this dude, Stephen Carlish, and he was like, hey, I need you to come to Houston with me. We'll be staying at the St. Regis Hotel for 3 days.
Yeah, whatever.
And we're photographing Oprah.
Whoa.
So my first job was staying at like a 5-star bougie hotel and photographing Oprah.
You're like, I can't believe see you in 30 years.
Yeah. And he was like, the first night at dinner, he's like, this is not how it goes.
Yeah.
But ever since then in Dallas, I just stayed busy with commercial advertising, whether it's in the pharmaceutical space or the litany of JCPenney's, Neiman's, like all of the different businesses that are here. But then I worked for a guy, Stuart Cohen, and we traveled all over the world for 3 years for all of his clients. I think I was probably, out of that 3 years, I was probably home a total of like, I don't know, 9 months.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And so that's how so I was like, this is the type of photography that I want to be in.
You found your niche within the commercial.
Yeah. I don't want to do weddings. I don't want to do headshots. I don't want to do this stuff. I want to make ads.
Yeah.
And so.
Why do you think you gravitate towards the ad part of it?
I think it is the thing about, because you get to see them in big places.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think there's something super cool about that. And it may be like a self-fulfillment type thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
And they're harder to get. It's harder work.
Yeah.
They come few and far between.
There's more moving pieces too.
Yeah. Because
that's cool.
It's not a thing where you can just go shoot something. You have to there is a legal process of why this ad is being created from all these different things, and then the creatives that have to play in it, and then the client that comes in it, and then just all the different moving pieces that have to be put in place for this thing to happen. And it's just cool.
You said something that I was talking to Jen, my wife, about just this morning. You know her? Good. We were talking about she has somebody that she knows that works at a catering company.
Yeah.
And we were just thinking catering is, if you can make it in catering, and this applies to what you just said and my own experience, if you just make yourself available, like this catering company, she said, will do any type of food, anytime, and they're now like the Match.com official caterer. But she said that they will get a call and like, hey, we need 30 separate spaghetti and meatballs. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, what else do you want? They're like, 50 egg rolls. They're like, sure.
Yeah.
If you just show up and start saying sure and make yourself available,
right,
eventually you're just going to work there and start making it.
But you got to charge for it, right?
For sure. But if you know, when you're first starting off, I don't think saying no is the way to go.
No. I mean, I took every job.
And that there's benefit because you figured out, I don't like doing headshots. I don't like doing this, but I like doing this one thing that I did get to do. So maybe I'll start introducing myself more.
Yeah.
But I think we get so scared to just start showing up, and scared to somebody's going to tell us to leave, or scared that we're going to get rejected in that moment. And even writing the book, I talked about it a little bit, the muse, if you just show up and just keep showing up and making yourself available to new ideas and new creative processes, eventually you're going to do it.
Yeah.
If you make yourself available to write every day, you're going to write, and eventually you're going to have enough words to have a book or a magazine or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's so valuable.
I think, I mean, a super practical thing, and not to bring it back to fitness because where we met, but it's a pull-up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how to get to doing a pull-up is not necessarily doing a pull-up. It's doing a bunch of other little stuff, whether it's a shoulder weight or whatever it is, until you can do one, and then you do assisted, and then you do all these other things, and then you're really good at pull-ups.
Yeah.
But it's just...
It doesn't have to be this super...
Right now.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this super well thought out thing.
No.
The fitness analogy, if you just walk every day, start there. And start doing some curls, and and don't feel bad that you're not doing this perfect Instagram influencer workout that's laid out. Who cares? I walked for 20 minutes and I did some curls, and that was it for me today.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I went to this free photo shoot with this dude, and I got to see how everything worked.
Yeah.
I said what's up to a couple people, and then the next day he did the same thing, and then the next day, and then 3 weeks later, and then 3 months later, and then boom, we're shooting Oprah.
Because those little shoots, like starting out, taught me how to carry myself on set, like when to talk, when not to talk, and also taught me a lot about lighting packs. Like we use strobe packs, and so how to do all the different settings for those. And I had the opportunity, because there was no clients on set, that I could play around and ask Steven questions and like, hey, what power is this? What does this do? What does this knob do? What does this switch do?
That is cool.
And he's like, yeah, so check this out. When I put this grid, like I don't know if you guys can see these grids, but like all the different tools, so that when you're put into those bigger situations, you don't look like an idiot.
Yeah. Dude, I love figuring out the actual like rules of things.
Yeah.
Like in the Army, I had to do that. There's rules obviously to the Army.
Yeah.
But then you meet somebody and they're like, hey, what really goes on? You're like, okay, let me tell you. And they show you the ropes.
Yeah.
That's where the real like shit comes. But if you're not there and you don't show up, then you just think like everybody plays by the rules that you learned in school or whatever you read.
Or what I mean, like the photo and video industry is just, there's a path that I believe is still in place, even though you can go learn something on YouTube.
Yeah.
But to get to the big commercials and to get to the bigger shoots, you gotta, and I still believe, and maybe I'm old school, but pay your dues and learn the ropes of set.
Like what set the C stand up, put the sandbags down.
Yeah.
You still see people doing that?
Oh yeah.
Dude,
I mean, there's a lot of not a lot anymore, but like I've had people that I've mentored and they're like, how do we get to where you're at? And I'm like, well, this is at the time, like when I was talking to a lot of different people, I was like, this is a 15-year career.
Yeah.
So I've done that, and I've just now kind of like feel good with the client that I have.
Yeah.
But it wasn't overnight. There was like a lot of like months that you just wouldn't make a cent.
Yeah.
And you're an adult.
Yeah.
Because it's freelance, but I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I walked away from it, and I don't remember what year that was. It had to have been 2009 or 10.
Yeah.
Where I went and worked for a friend in the oil field.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did it for 6 months.
You just couldn't tolerate the inconsistency of money.
Well, yeah, it was that, and I like 2009 was the kind of end of that first downturn that we saw of our lifetime.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of jobs like for marketing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and I was like, I want to do something new.
Yeah.
And it wasn't supposed to be, because I was like up in Oklahoma just by myself checking oil rigs. And
yeah,
I am grateful for that time because I got to be alone a lot, taught me a lot about myself. And then the first job back was Tony Romo for starter.
Dude.
And so that
for starter.
Yeah.
Oh, that was starter's first like popping.
Yeah. When he was sponsored by them. Yeah.
Man.
And that was kind of like, oh, why'd you walk away?
Yeah. Look, I've had this for you the whole time.
And that's another thing. It's a testament of like, it's time under tension. Like you have to, sounding old again, Instagram just teaches like, oh, this guy does it.
Yeah.
Or this girl does it and they make great work and they're super famous. Well, no one saw all the hard work.
Yeah. I even see it. We have an influencer friend that is her living, and she makes a really good living. And before I knew her, I was like, these fucking influencers, dude.
Yeah.
But then you go to her house and she has a whole cabinet set up with products on specific shelves for specific days. She's like, I got to send this off to an editor. I got to, figure out lighting packs basically in my house.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It looks cool, but
it's cool, hard work. She's been out here, dude. And we've talked about it before, because Chris is starting a podcast with his wife and another co-host. And it's so easy to be like, there's so many different podcasts out here. Why would I do it now?
Yeah.
It's not my podcast, though. Right. It's not your podcast. But it is a marathon this whole life.
Yeah.
Time under tension, this marathon instead of like a sprint.
Right.
Nothing's going to happen overnight. I'm not going to get, 1 million listens on this particular show.
Yeah.
But if you just keep doing it and keep showing up on set, keep learning a little something every time, keep doing a podcast every week,
right?
Keep writing, keep taking photos, keep fill in the blank, painting. Eventually, something's going to happen, or not. But you found your love for it.
Yeah, I think it's Alex Hormozy or something. He's like, work begets work.
Yeah,
like
yes.
Morning routines are great.
But what happens when you don't?
But it's just keeping you from work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can you work if you haven't had your morning routine?
Oh, man. That one hit me because I was super like attached to this morning routine thing. It was like, who cares?
Yeah.
Nobody. What a privilege that I get to complain that I didn't get to get my sauna that I have in my own bedroom.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We both grew up in a small town. And that's some fun stories out of there. You grew up in Nacogdoches.
Mm-hmm.
Up until
East Texas.
When did your parents move away from there?
I graduated from high school in 2003.
Great class.
I graduated from high school in 2000.
Yeah, you did.
My younger sister probably graduated in 2002. So I think they were out shortly after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because by the time I came home from Savannah, obviously they were.
McKinney was where they.
Yeah.
Why did they move?
Family up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, small town living, it's a full circle moment because we now have a property in a small town.
Yeah.
We see how awesome it is. I grew up in a super small town, and you want to get out of there as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Whenever you're in it. But now I'm almost 40, you're 40. I totally get it now. We go out to our land, and it's like, do we have to go home?
Right.
Like, it would be awesome to raise our daughters out there.
It's great, and it's scary too, a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. If we hadn't moved to our house that we're in now, and those neighbor kids, because we live in this little tight bubble where it's 1995 and there's kids playing in the street every night, we would for sure live out on that land.
Right.
But what do you tell your daughter who is homeschooled? Hey, we're going to go live where our nearest neighbor, you have to get in a car to drive to. Yeah. That's tough.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think in the city, you get exposed to, like, would I have wanted to grow up in Dallas? I don't know. Or a bigger city?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that it wasn't till I went to Savannah that I was like, oh.
Yes.
There's a big old world out here.
Big old world. And nobody's around to check on me.
No.
I'll maybe get a call on my dorm room's landline from my mom.
Yeah.
It was cool, but looking back, a little bit scary.
Yeah.
Just like, shit. I'm just
exposed to the rest of cultures.
Yes.
Because when you're in a small town, it's like,
there is a
sushi.
Culture. Oh my.
You can't have that. We're in Texas. There's no ocean nearby.
Yes.
It's like, all right, you know what?
Yeah. And
people still say that, and you're wrong, because most sushi, even in Japan, is frozen first. So, sorry to bust your bubble on that.
And you've been to Japan, right?
No, I've been to Japan, but in the airport.
Do they have sushi there in the airport?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it nice?
On the little conveyor belt.
I feel so cultured. Like the first time I stepped off the plane in Germany, when I was stationed there, there's beer stands in the Frankfurt.
Oh yeah,
and like brats and
everything.
I'm so cultured right now, and you haven't even stepped foot out of the airport. This is awesome.
Like, I can go home now.
Yeah. What's the worst airport you've ever been in?
The worst would be, I don't know. There's some small ones that you're like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
I can't say the worst because I love airports.
I do like it. I like to get there so early and just
hang out,
get a little snack at this place, a little coffee at this place. It's so nice.
We were, Shelby and I were coming home from a long trip recently, and we were tired. I think it was back from Mexico, and great vacation, but you're just tired, right?
Yeah. We got a sunburn.
Because you're sun. Yeah. And we get into, I think we landed at Terminal D, and so we had to get on the tram to go to our car. And I'm just smiling. She's like, "What is up with you?" And I was like, "I just love it here."
Dude,
she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, it's this thought of like, if you're there and you're about to go somewhere, you're about to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's probably, hopefully, somewhere you want to go, right?
Yeah.
And if you're back there, you're coming home.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty great place.
Pretty great place.
And I grew up in airports pretty much. My dad was an airline pilot, and so we would travel a ton. And so that's my love for travel.
Yes.
I love it. I travel a lot for work, and then Shelby and I always also travel. Like, we were just in Denver because I surprised her with a concert. And so we just booked the flight, booked the hotel.
Oh, that was
went to the show. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
But we worked. We didn't take off. We just worked in the hotel lobby during the day. So we got there Wednesday morning early. We set up in the hotel lobby, worked that whole day, went to dinner, woke up, worked the whole day in the hotel lobby, and then went to the show. Friday, worked, went to lunch with her boss, and then went home.
Whoa.
And it was just like an extension of our work day.
Yes.
But we got to do it somewhere else.
That's so fun.
And so we got to experience this little neighborhood in Denver, and then we walked to the show, walked home, or walked back to the hotel. And it was like we never left.
Being in a new place, though, it's
inspiring.
It really is.
Yeah.
Even if you've been there before.
Right.
Man, it's so nice.
Yeah.
It just feels different.
So I think travel is a big creative catalyst.
It really is. Yeah. I wrote while we were in wherever, Jamaica, Miami. Yeah. It feels nice just to have a different view of when you look up from a computer.
Yeah.
it energizes you a little bit.
For sure.
It really does. Have you ever been to Jamaica?
I have not.
We were talking about airports.
Cruise and the hurricane.
The craziest airport I've ever been to, because you can pay off customs people there. This is no surprise to anyone that knows. But there's companies that you can use to like, oh, you skipped a line. Well, the line is fucking crazy. Yeah. It is wrapped around corners.
So coming in
to get into the thing. It's wrapped around corners where you can't even see. You're like, is this a line to a bathroom or is this the customs line? It's the customs line. But you can pay companies or you can pay individuals, or you have people that are just trying to get around.
Like don't even care about
Don't even care. And it bottlenecks into, where all the customs agents are, like checking your passports. And we're there just trying to get at grass. We have a kid that's hungry. I'm hungry. We're hot. There's no AC in there. It's wild. And I'm like trying to like get people's attention, and we're trying to decide like, do we want to like cut the line? Because people are yelling at each other. It was pandemonium.
So what did we do?
We just stayed.
How long? An hour?
Well, it worked out. God, praise be. We got up to like the bottleneck where they start telling you where to go, and we were almost up to it. And this custom agent comes over and says, and started pointing to people with families and kids, and we cut the line that way.
Yeah.
But next time, we're definitely getting it set up.
Let's get those 3 white people through.
Let's get them out of here before something bad happens to them. But we are definitely going to get it set up next time. And I love that. I love paying people off. We went to Peter Luger's in New York City.
Slip them $100
bill. There's a whole, if you don't know Peter Luger's, you can't make a reservation online. You can't call. You try to call, they say show up. Maybe try to show up for lunch. It's less busy then. Full. That's it.
But there's full, but there's tables. Like, right. I'm sorry, we can't take you.
Right. But there's a whole, out at the bar packed. You walk up there and you pay him off. Oh, that table's open.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So y'all are big Miami people, but have you been to Joe's?
No.
In Miami?
Joe's Crab Shack?
It is called Joe's Crab Shack, but it's not the.
Yeah.
It's Where is Joe's. It? It's in South Beach.
Oh,
there's 2 of them, but the OG one's in South Beach.
Okay.
White tablecloth, tux situation, but you can show up however, right?
Yeah.
But it's very much I don't think you can make reservations, but it's all stone crab, right? So you go during stone crab season and they just lay out stone crab and then you get sides, right? So you're just cracking claws and eating them. But it is the maitre d' there is very famous, and you pay him.
Like, that's just known.
You either wait for an hour or you slip him $20-$40 and he's right this way.
That is a whole career.
Yeah.
I love jobs like this. Yeah. I'm a steakhouse maitre d'.
Right.
What's up with it?
And I make things happen.
I'm a waiter at a steakhouse and I make $500 a night. Whatever it is. I love that stuff. When is stone crab season? Because we'll be there in 2 weeks.
I don't know. We'll have to Google that. I think you should be good.
That's awesome.
It's so fun.
This is showing our age a little bit. I'm attracted to that cash only places, stuff like that, because the world is so, using AI art, contactless payment. You just Apple Pay it. There's just something about having a couple 20s in your billfold.
Yeah. I might stop by the ATM after this.
Yeah, we just switched to an all cash budget.
Really?
Yeah,
Dave Ramsey, huh?
Yeah,
envelopes and everything.
But no, we use our credit card for a lot of stuff because we want them points. South Beach ain't cheap.
No,
I think it's smart though. If you lay out your budget and that's getting paid off at the end of every month. Right. It's just a tool.
Yeah.
But like for our personal stuff, if you want to buy a book on Amazon or go out to lunch with your friends, take care of that cash.
Yeah.
With a couple 20s.
I noticed that the other day at breakfast, you whipped out some 20s.
Yeah, it was nice.
Threw the waiter for a loop, but
it's like, I don't know how. He's pulling out his calculator.
Yeah, he was like, how many pennies do you want? He's like, keep the change, bro.
Please keep the change. Keep that $6.
Oh, gosh. But you never know, man.
Chris, you're a landlord.
I am.
Let's talk about some real estate stuff.
Okay. We might have to extend the podcast.
This is going to be good. What's your plan? Say it out loud. Because, pause, we're big on affirmations recently. I learned from our friend Summer Graham that if you write down exactly what your life is going to look and feel like as if you already did your goal 25 times a day for 30 days, chances are eventually that is going to become true. And then I read
it doesn't trick your mind, but it
rewires it.
A mindset of
I read the book, reread the book. What to say when you're talking to yourself or telling yourself. I think that's the name of it. And it's just, we've been wired for so long that we can't do something.
Right.
You know, if you grew up in a small town, there's no way you can be a photographer's son. There's no way you can eat sushi. No. All that stuff that, it's not saying your parents are bad, but you're just around it so much and your brain believes it.
Right.
But if you say to yourself, it feels awesome to be a #1 bestseller.
Right.
You're telling yourself it's possible.
Yeah. So go after it. So I think your things would fall in line for you to make it happen. But
yours is a real estate one, so go ahead.
I have a real estate goal, and it is, well, we do. When I say I do mean the collective we of my wife and I. To have 10 million in assets by 2030.
Awesome. Real estate assets?
Real estate assets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not 10 million liquid, like owning a collective of properties. And that is, people are like, why is that? And some people are like, whoa, but it is whoa. And I made that goal because it's scary.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how to get there.
Yeah.
So, we built a house in 2021. Well, we moved in July of 21.
It's that crazy rates because we moved into our new house.
Yeah.
Get like a nice
got
2%
an awesome interest rate. And at the time, I don't think I was like I wasn't studying real estate like I am now. And, but we knew we wanted to buy, and I was fine with renting, but Shelby really wanted to own something. And then looking back, we might have done something different, but we by no means put ourselves in a bad situation. A year into being at that house, I started more and more into real estate, like just listening to podcasts, and this podcast in particular called Bigger Pockets, and started researching and going back, like I have a 10-year working freelance with no 401k.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, what is a way to kind of get some retirement time back? Our, investment account. I was like, oh, real estate is a quick way.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's quick. So I started researching, and I would just talk Shelby's ear off about it. And then finally she called me out on it, and she was like, don't start nothing, won't be nothing kind of thing.
Oh, snap.
And I was like, all right. And so we started interviewing like mortgage people to just get a thing like how much money do we need to get a second property?
Yeah. And
they were like, oh, well, you need 20% down on your next space. And at the time we were thinking short-term rental or whatever, or, we didn't really know. We only knew what we knew. And we were like, we don't want to spend 20% on something right now. And I read this book called The Third Door by Alex Benai, and so I always think there's a way.
Yeah.
There's always a way.
Oh, yeah.
Really good book if you haven't read it. Check it out. He does the Audible himself, so that all the inflections are there and stuff like that. But basically, if someone tells me no, then there's got to be a third door.
Yeah.
A way to get in the back or whatever. And so the way that we, after interviewing multiple mortgage people, was like, well, everyone kept saying primary residence.
Yes.
Well, what if we didn't have a primary residence? Well, then I was like, oh, well, then we'll just put renters in this house and we'll go rent an apartment somewhere.
Yep.
And then wait the 6 months that we need to have on the books for this lease, and then
freeze up the 20%.
Freeze up the 20%, and then we can get an FHA at 5%, 3.5, or a conventional at 5, or whatever it is. And so that's what we did. We put renters in that house in April, and we are currently looking for our second house.
That's
our
awesome.
Second condo or whatever, investment property. And so our plan is to buy a house a year for the next 5. God willing, we'll have a little baby in a year and start trying in 6 months, hopefully. And then we kind of we were like, we'll move with the babies are very mobile. So I've heard.
Yeah. Especially newborn.
They're small. They have small clothes. And so we can move with them. But then eventually, like when that child is 3 to 4, we're going to need a house that is in a school zone district and all that stuff. And some other, just travel goals we have. We want to kind of be a little bit more planted. So that is in short, in theory, the goal. And so
bringing up that initial 20%, getting that first house off the books is key though.
It's key.
Because then
if you don't have
the cash.
Yeah.
You do have the cash, but you don't want to spend it and be back to zero for a house.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of tools to get around some of that stuff. I mean, depending on what you want to do. But I think the biggest thing, and in our minds, we were like, why doesn't everyone do this? Oh, it's because it hasn't been easy. Like we actually moved into Shelby's parents' house.
Not easy.
In Keller.
Not easy.
They live in St. John, Virgin Islands.
Probably pretty easy for them.
Pretty great for them. But huge blessing that we got to do that. But we're also now 38 miles away from our community.
Yeah.
Which is 40 miles away or 40 minutes in a car on a good day.
Oof.
An hour during traffic. So what it did, all the pros out of that was podcast time, learning a lot of education because your captive audience in your vehicle.
You took advantage of that time though.
Oh yeah.
You put that time to work.
Whole different level of like listening to books and stuff like that. But it also, over the last month, we have felt very disconnected from our people, like you and Jen, and like it's just not as easy to meet up for dinner or be spontaneous. And we've made it work. Like we've just never said no based on the distance. We've always said, we'll be there.
Yeah.
It may take us longer to get there, but it's starting to wear on our mentals.
Yeah. Jen says it best, and she's probably told you it's fine to have a hustle period, but it has to be a period. There has to be an endpoint. There has to be 10 million in assets. There has to be. You can't just dive in and just, fuck, I guess I just do this, because that's just burnout all the way.
Right. And that I'm glad you brought up that word, because it's a really popular.
Oh, dude.
I'm burnout. But it's like if you have an endpoint, then burnout's not possible.
Oh yeah, because you're just going to keep going.
Yeah. Well, because you know when it's going to end.
Yes.
And if you don't, you are just going to keep going, and that's when burnout is real.
I think it's tricky, this hustle and grind, social media mentality.
Right.
You know, The Rock, Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Dude, if you just jump in and I'm just going to work 80 hours at my job.
Right.
That company really appreciates you doing that. But what is the end? What are you doing that for? If it's to buy a house and move your family into it, that's great.
Right.
But also, what are your priorities during that time? So you guys recognizing, man, we need a little bit more community. We're going to have to shift and
just get back into it.
For
sure. I mean, that's we at the agency, you can work as much as you want because you can just keep taking projects on or whatever, or people ask you to take this on. And I'm always of the mindset of like, I'll just ask whoever's giving it to me. If it's out of my scope, if it's out of what the projects that I currently have assigned to me, I'm like, is this a good career move for me? Like, will taking this on improve the path of my career? And if it's a no, then I'm like, then I don't have bandwidth. But if you're telling me that for the next 2 weeks, I do have to do an 80-hour a week sprint, and it's going to be over at this date.
Yeah.
And it's good exposure. Like the opportunity is, whether I do good or bad is on me, but the opportunity is there for it to springboard my career, then I'm in.
Yeah. And but if everybody's just not going to remember this,
yeah,
then
I'm all set.
That's smart. If you had to write a book, what would it be?
I'm a terrible writer, only because I have dyslexia. And so it doesn't come natural.
Speak to write.
Yeah, I would just like talk out and hopefully have someone edit out the ums. And then I said I don't know. I think it would have to be something, I mean, obviously that I'm good at or I have knowledge at. So somewhere around production and the photography space, not like technical stuff. I'm definitely not a technical person, but just the career, the creative career, how to get better at it, you know, where to push, where not to, what to say yes to, what to say no to.
Yes.
Like that type of stuff. Or I would love to write a travel blog.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
You
could just write about all your experiences.
Yeah. That's just all the different trips that I was fortunate to get to go on. And
I'd read that book.
Yeah.
What are you reading now that you want us to know about?
I'm an Audible guy. I'm actually reading this book called Outlive, and I forget the name of the doctor who wrote it. But he is a doctor of, I forget what kind of doctor he is. Apologize to you, sir. But he talks about what kills us as humans, and it's mainly cancer, like those long-term illnesses that affects us. And then like cancer, as we know, is it could be in us right now, and then it just slowly kills us over time, and then we're gone like that.
Yeah.
And so one of his analogies in the first part of the book is, as a doctor, as an MD, he was constantly, using analogy, pulling people out of the river and saving them from drowning. Like cancer's here, chemo. Yeah. So that's out of the river. And so finally, after, you know, like a few years of doing that, and maybe, you know, over his career, he was like, I had to figure out why people were jumping in the river in the first place. He's like, so I have to walk way up this river and figure out where they're jumping in and why. And so it's just talk about how to train your body and work out and eat well, and what you're putting in your brain so that you don't get Alzheimer's and all of those things. Not that you don't get it, but maybe you can curb it.
Yes.
And so it's really interesting because one of my, like, it's not a fear, it's not an anxiety, but I'm 41, don't have kids yet, and I don't want to be in a wheelchair or unmobile when my kids are, you know, hitting that fun stage of 25.
Oh, yeah.
Or 30.
Where you get to take them places.
And travel, or even like when they're 16, 17, and however old they are, you know, it's all fun. But I've come to terms that when I'm 70, they're going to be a certain age, right? But what is 70? I know plenty of 70-year-olds that are still running marathons and
totally
all that stuff. So that's kind of a goal, and like I'm experimenting with a lot of diet stuff like that to feel like what makes me feel best. So it's interesting. That book has kind of opened up a lot of like, oh,
yes, fitness has changed.
Have to eat that.
Yes, fitness has changed so much for me, and maybe it's an age thing.
Yeah,
where I just want to be a capable dad and a capable father,
right?
And not do for the aesthetics. Like, I love the byproduct of the things that I'm doing and how I'm working out and eating and stuff now, of the way that I look. But I also love the energy and how capable I am.
Yeah.
And how much energy I have for my daughter. And I've figured out, like, strength is being available to do those things and being capable. Strength is not being able to pull 500 pounds off the ground, but you can't even bend over without tweaking your back.
Right.
That's just a non-negotiable for me now, because I have a very active 6-year-old. I have a newborn. That's selfish to want to do those things for what? Just for me.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Well, being able to get off the ground yourself.
You have to do that with a kid. I
mean, there was a older gentleman in my life when I was younger, and he was getting out of a chair like this and tweaked a disc. He was overweight.
Dude. That terrifies me.
What?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think just taking care of your bodies. I mean, Chick-fil-A is awesome, but we don't need to be eating
so good. It tastes so good. But that's a small town like mentality.
Yeah.
We had a Sonic. That was our restaurant in town. And then a McDonald's came when we were in high school. And that was it. There was the Dairy Queen.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a Texas town.
Of course, this is it. And you have to like learn, and you have to make a choice. Am I going to continue to do this, or am I going to kind of learn?
Yeah.
What's best for me?
Yeah.
Man, do I love a nice apple pie from McDonald's, nice Sonic, slushy, blueberry slush, nice Butterfinger Blizzard.
Yeah. But I'm in the stage right now where I'm eating very strict because I think I need to rebuild some things. We're not saying this isn't a health podcast that you cannot have these things.
Oh man, it's actually
eat the cake, but in the wise words of Dean Zoo, eat the cake. But
we were talking about it. It's being in touch and actually listening to what your body needs instead of listening to what you read in a magazine or saw on Instagram.
Yeah.
These are the meals you have to eat exactly when you need to eat them. We're both now. I'm going to listen to my brain and what my body is telling me. Okay, I'm hungry right now. I need to go eat. Instead of, it's time for me to eat.
Yeah.
That has been a huge switch for me.
Yeah.
And how I feel.
Right.
Energy wise, for sure.
Oh,
and same with you.
I mean, and I don't know. Do you think that one of the worst things that we were taught is to finish your plate?
Yes. And it's hard for us as parents now to rewire and change that like generational thing, because we are very much hippies. You know this.
Yeah.
We tell our 6-year-old, whatever your tummy says, and we've been telling her this since she was about 3, since she could like kind of make her own decisions. Whatever your tummy says, trust your tummy.
Right.
A lot of the times her tummy says, I want the candy that's in the pantry.
Yeah.
Or I want ice cream. But it's just a constant, hey, sometimes maybe your tummy is tricking you and it really wants nutritious food. Does your tummy need nutritious food? Instead of, you need to finish that before you get dessert.
Get dessert. So then you're just
that's hard, dude.
Full.
That's hard. It still makes me go, oh, fuck. But
when I struggle with that too is because, and I still think this is great. Like growing up, we ate every meal together besides lunch, obviously, because we were at school, but like even breakfast and dinner, we'd all sit down together. Like everything stops.
Yep.
And so when we got married, like with Shelby, I was like, yeah, we're going to have dinner together.
Yeah.
And we're not going to eat until we pray. And then we're not going to, get up from the table till everyone's done.
Yeah.
And she was just like,
what are you talking about?
Go eat.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I waited for you to eat.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not hungry, but I made dinner.
Yeah. Oh, like I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
Why should I have to eat because you're hungry?
Or because she's very much like hustle, and she's like, I got to finish this work before. I'm like, but it's dinner time.
Yeah.
Stop what you're doing. Let's eat together, and then you can do it after. And so now I kind of like, I just eat.
Yeah.
And then she'll be like, you can go ahead. I was like, oh, I'm done.
Oh. We tried to do family dinners together, but it's all about, hey, Pax, are you hungry?
Yeah.
And if it's hard because sometimes that's not until bedtime is actually started.
I think it's a dinner, or it's different with kids.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But it is you see that connection where it's like we're all sitting down to eat dinner.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But there's the line of still wanting, hey, are you actually hungry? Because I don't want to. If you look at it I don't want to set her up to when she's 25 and somebody is telling her when she needs to eat.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Right.
We've experienced that.
Yeah. I got pretty big one year.
Well, Waffle House is good, Chris.
Yeah.
That's a low key. We've gotten a little bit too bougie for Waffle House, and then we came back from Jamaica. Actually, this all started our Waffle House love again on Christmas Day. Nothing's open, but guess what's open?
Waffle House.
That's right,
man. Because it's the best, and you might get some cigarette ash in there, and your
bring it on,
and you just got to eat it.
But have you ever had the biscuits and gravy?
I haven't. I apologize. I feel like this is affecting our friendship.
But your mom made biscuits and gravy.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me just tell you, the Waffle House biscuits and gravy tastes exactly
chunky gravy.
Yeah, don't be disrespectful. It tastes just like your mom's, and the waffles taste just like. I asked my mom the other day.
Those waffles.
So, did you just learn to cook from Waffle House, or did Waffle House learn to cook from you? Because my whole childhood, big Sunday, did y'all have big Sunday breakfasts?
Oh yeah.
What is that? Where did they learn this shit from?
Southern.
That's just what you did. Big Southern.
Did your mom cook the waffles with the little holes or the Belgian with the big ones?
Little holes. We were more of an Eggo family, if we're honest, on the waffle side, but we were more of a pancake family on Sundays. That would be
we were French toast, pancakes, and waffles.
When she busted out the pancakes, sausage, biscuits, and gravy
on the griddle, the one that plugged in, that's set up on the countertop.
And then we had the convection oven that plugged in on the countertop too.
You got everything plugged in for those breakfasts.
Everything. Did y'all have cinnamon toast?
Yeah.
Dude, I think my mom still knows the record. I think I ate 13 full slices of it's bread and cinnamon and sugar. Then I got to where
I would make my own because you want to have the big thing of butter on the top so it melts out.
Yes.
So you'd also had pasted that thing with butter.
Yeah.
Did you ever do bread, butter, peanut butter, toast it?
Oh no, but we did start doing that in the Army, toast with just peanut butter on top. But
super good.
Not the butter with the butter on there.
There was another one my mom used to make this was snack. God, this is so bad. Snack after school. Graham cracker.
Low key, great snack.
Over here.
Yeah.
Then in a bowl, she would put peanut butter in a bowl and then add a scoop of brown sugar, whip it up. So you have this whipped peanut butter and brown sugar and then onto graham cracker sandwich. It's so good.
Whoa. Okay, did y'all do another Southern mom thing? Did y'all do cream of wheat or malto meal?
We didn't do either.
Y'all didn't do either. Mm-hmm. What was a nice breakfast, school day breakfast, not Sunday morning breakfast?
Hard on cereals.
Big cereal fan for us too.
And then like a scrambled egg.
Oh.
Not with cereal. You never mix the two. How dare you?
Yeah.
It would be like a traditional like bacon, eggs situation.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
We were big. Toaster strudels, big.
Yeah. Oh. Toaster strudels were the ones from Pillsbury.
Yes.
That weren't Pop-Tarts, right? That you had the packet of icing.
Yeah. You had to put it either. We did like the little big Eggo family for us.
We didn't do that.
Didn't do that. Frosted Flakes, whatever cereal.
Frosted Flakes. My dad ate Frosted Flakes every morning.
My dad loves Frosted Flakes too. I think it was because that generation, I think that was probably the first like sugary cereal, and they could not even believe it. They're like, shit, this is not cornflakes anymore.
I think he still has. I think he still eats it. That or Honey Nut Cheerios. Honey Nut Cheerios were a big
banger.
And then Reese's cereal.
I don't remember when those came out. Have you been down a cereal aisle recently?
Mm-hmm.
It'll make you real sad.
You know what else make you sad?
What?
Is we, for like a connect group one year, it was like, we're going over this marriage book, but we would bring different foods every time. Yeah. One night was childhood cereals. So everything was there.
All the bangers?
All the bangers.
Yes.
And it did not taste the same. So now that memory of those is gone.
Oh, it pushed those memories out?
Well, it's like oh, this wasn't what I remembered it.
I tell you what is the same though is Fruity Pebbles. They have tasted the same.
Yeah. So
but some of those
coat your mouth with that weird coat.
But like that second and third layer, you're telling me is not the same.
No, Reese's did not hit like I remembered.
No. We've burned our taste buds from Reese's out from all those cigarettes we smoked in our college years.
Yeah, and Uchi and
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like we got too bougie thinking that we're too good to go to Waffle House. The past 2 or 3 years, I've reverted back. You know where I go when I want a nice steak, Chris?
Outback or Texas Roadhouse.
Fucking Texas Roadhouse. We've been going there.
$20.
I went there for Father's Day the past 2 years and my birthday the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Roadhouse.
It's delicious.
We got too bougie. Dallas corrupted us.
Mm-hmm.
Especially you. You're bad.
Well,
you'll go to Uchi for lunch.
I haven't been in a long time.
Good for you.
We even stayed next to one in Denver and didn't go.
You didn't go? Because guess what? It's just fucking sushi.
It's just delicious.
You can't even say it. You can't say it. Is Uchi the same as a nice Tom Thumb?
No.
Roll? That is true. That is not the same.
But I will say I'm out on the food at expensive steakhouses.
Okay.
It's not as good as a home steak.
It's not. That's reverse seared New York strip at home.
Yeah.
Just had it on Friday.
You can't beat it.
You can't beat it. I'm going to say something. Peter Luger's
was hit.
It hit. But guess what? I like Texas Roadhouse better.
There you go.
Dude.
But the experience, I think it's all in
I
like my favorite meal.
You're in the middle of New York City. You got to pay off the maitre d', the whole thing.
You could have eaten a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Yeah, totally.
My favorite meal, 2 favorite meals in life, I have nothing to do with the food.
Yeah,
that makes experience.
That makes sense. What is it?
The first one is we're actually in Dallas at 60 Vines. It was like Shelby and I's 3rd date, and I knew that I was going to marry her. So that was, I know exactly where we sat.
Ooh.
I know which side of the table she was on.
You're so right. The experience is the meal.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
It's a long story. We have time for it. We were shooting in Mexico, in Tequila, Mexico, for Herradura Tequila. The one with the horseshoe on it.
Oh,
and
poor people. What? This man shoots for the one with the horseshoe in it. You know the one.
That's just Herradura. It's Emmett Smith's tequila. I think.
Is it really?
I don't think it's his. He's a sponsor. He was always.
Oh, okay.
But we had to get up at the butt crack of dawn to shoot the sunrise coming over the agave fields. And me and my good friend Johnny Miller,
love Johnny,
we're out there, and I'm going to mispronounce the names when I'm going to say it. The gentleman that cut the agave out, were out there, and there was about 20 guys.
Yeah.
Coming on this truck, and they have this certain tool, this blade, that they hack off the leaves, and then they get the pina out, and then they roll it over. Pinas are super heavy. It's a lot of taxing work. So we're filming this happening, and the sun's coming up. It's a perfect day. Johnny and I's arms are all bloody because we're walking through this thing, and those ends of the agaves are sharp and just like slashing us. And so they have like the guys that work there have mandatory breaks where they have to stretch or eat or whatever. And so we had like packed a cooler with like Kind bars.
Yeah.
Because we were going to leave from there and go eat some great breakfast, right?
Yeah.
Well, at one of their breaks, we go to our vehicle to get water and like download cards and that stuff. And these like probably a group of 5 guys go over to this area, just as part in this field, and take the dried up agave leaves and build this little fire. And then they take out Tupperware and start cooking, like heating up their food, tortillas, and stuff.
My mouth's watering.
That their wives or whoever had obviously packed for them.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot, dude. It's like these little containers, and each guy has one. They just kind of see us looking at him, and I don't speak any Spanish. I mean, I speak enough to like
go to
the bathroom, get to the airport, whatever, order another water, whatever. But they wave us over and wave me and Johnny over, and they're sitting on the ground. And so we sit. They say, sit down, sit down. We sit down with them, and they start serving us their food.
Dude.
And we were like, no. We'll just sit with you.
Yeah.
And they're like, absolutely not. And the broken English that they spoke and the minimal Spanish that I spoke. So we each had a taco, and it was like we sat there with them in complete happiness, and we didn't say anything.
Oh man.
It was mainly like one of these, like, yeah. And we're like, good, like making all these stupid idiot.
The
like,
presence of each other.
It was just.
That's beautiful.
It was amazing. And to this day, and I think Johnny would say the same, it's his favorite meal. It's just, it's number one of like, whoa. I can kind of taste what we had. It was like eggs and chorizo sausage, just a breakfast taco that you would get at
7-Eleven.
any place in Dallas.
Yeah.
But we were in the middle of this place where I could not tell you how to get to.
Whoa.
And just shared a meal with people we didn't know. We'll never see again. It was awesome.
They wanted that connection.
Yeah.
And they wanted to serve.
Yeah, they just wanted to serve. Like that was the whole. That's why I love Mexico so much, is because the people are so kind.
You think they subconsciously had that same, like they actually loved doing their job, and they didn't take for granted the view, and even though maybe they're looked at as just a laborer,
right? They
still enjoy it.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, I just didn't. The cultural that we come from in America versus where they are, they're like that's all gone there.
Man.
Like when you're sitting on the field, just eating.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the. It's going back to food and meals and stuff. I think like as I say, breaking bread with people is one of the best.
It really is
things to like strip away, get down to brass tacks, and so with that. Maybe we should have a podcast where we just eat with people.
Oh, that'd be cool.
We could set this up inside of restaurants.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like a little Anthony Bourdain type situation.
Yeah, you got a plug in here, Uchi? You're gonna sit right now.
Oh God, they're probably like, no, we like taking your money instead of giving you money.
I mean, we'll pay for it.
Yeah, some of the best meals are when you travel.
Maybe you and I should start a podcast.
We should start a podcast.
That's 7 podcasts.
Hey, we got this place. We already did it.
Already did it.
Should we end it?
That's the podcast.
What do you have to plug, Chris? I think you should plug your podcast or something.
Yeah, Shelby and I and our friend Michelle are starting a podcast called The Lower Thirds.
Yep. Why the Lower Thirds?
It's like an old industry. There's 3 of us.
Yeah.
And if you ever get it, we wanted to be called Tripod, but it was taken. So if you are on the Tripod podcast, have us on. Lower thirds is when you ever watch the news or whatever, and then there's the newscaster's name in the bottom third of the screen. That's what that it just refers to. It's just an industry term of
that's cool.
Putting text or graphic on the bottom third of the screen. And so we want to talk about individually. I think probably maybe the first 3 podcasts are going to be. We haven't started recording. We're still like gathering the gear, and then our friends at the Shotwells are kind enough to let us use their gear.
Because why not? Let's just pause right there. Why not?
Why not?
This isn't a zero-sum life that we're living, especially not with your friends that you love and your family.
Just got to give.
Why would we not want you to succeed? Why not?
Why not? So we want to talk about probably first 3 podcasts we'll interview each other.
Yeah.
Like talking about our careers and how we got to where we got and what we want to do next within the creative space. We each come from different backgrounds. Michelle works for the Dallas Cowboys currently. And Shelby works for a marina company. And I work for an advertising agency, and we all do something in the creative space. And so after we get through those 3, then we want to start having guests on that are in creative fields too. And that could be a writer like yourself or a chef or a photographer, anyone really, real estate agents, because I take that back. It doesn't have to be in creative space. It's more about interviewing people that are successful as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That have like advice for people that are just starting.
Yes.
And we just so happen to be in creative space. I think anyone's creative. I hate it when people say, well, I'm not creative.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you are. I mean, even if you're an accountant, you have to get creative with numbers to try to like get the sum of whatever you're trying to do, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the ethos of it. We're super excited. We're kind of like you. We're going to just do them. And if they suck, they suck. If they don't, well, they're going to suck at the beginning, and then we'll just get better and better. And so, yeah, we're excited. That's the plug for that.
Dude, we'll end on this. I saw a thing that said the first podcast is going to suck. The first picture you print's going to suck. Mm-hmm. The first video you make's going to suck. You just have to start.
Yeah.
I love that.
Just start.
Okay.
One foot in front of the other.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Boom. Done. My fucking ears are sweating so bad.
Oh, my arm, my right here's sweating. Is she still on? This will be an audio only one. This one says the same thing.